What if I told you that some cargo planes have actually carried whale sharks through the sky? Or that pandas have flown first class as part of international diplomacy? Yeah, planes carry some very strange cargo. And today, we're talking about the wildest and most interesting things ever transported in the skies. Let's start with a classic. In 2010, in Auckland, New Zealand, airport inspectors noticed something odd with a shipment container that was supposed to be carrying yucca trees. Now, a leaky container in the cargo bay isn't exactly rare, but this one had a very unusual drip pattern that got the team's attention. When they cracked it open, they didn't just find waterlogged plants. Nope. Amid the soggy greenery was a surprise guest, a 70-centimeter-long boa constrictor. Imagine that, finding a snake just chilling among plants. However, the boa wasn't alive and slithering around. It was packed in ice. The temperature was so low, it was practically frozen. Experts believe the snake was intentionally chilled to sedate it, making it much easier to smuggle without raising suspicion. But if that was the plan, it didn't work out too well, did it? The owner failed to declare the boa in the shipping paperwork, making this one giant red flag for customs officers. Speaking of that, this is not a small issue. Did you know that live animal smuggling is a multi-billion-dollar global industry? People go to some crazy lengths to smuggle animals, and honestly, it's pretty absurd. So yeah, lesson learned. If you're smuggling reptiles, maybe don't let your cargo spring a leak. Our next story swaps suspense for a little diplomacy, featuring two of the fluffiest passengers to ever board a plane. In 2017, China's beloved giant pandas, Meng and Zhaoqing, took a first-class flight from Chengdu, China to Berlin, Germany. This was part of China's Panda Diplomacy, where pandas are gifted to strengthen international relations.
Build up a new area, a new location for them, €10 million location, with a quarantine area, with all the needs to fulfill the needs of giant pandas.
While the gifting part isn't as common today, the goal remains the same: to build bridges between countries. Lufthansa Airlines went all out for this flight, customizing an entire cargo plane just for them. Special enclosures were built to give the pandas space to move comfortably while keeping them safe. And of course, there was plenty of bamboo to snack on, because you can't fly a panda without its favorite food. Caretakers and veterinarians also accompanied them to ensure their health and comfort. When Meng and Zhaoqing landed in Berlin's Schönefeld Airport, they were greeted like celebrities. Yes, complete with the mayor of Berlin, China's ambassador to Germany, and a crowd of reporters. It was a full-on media frenzy. The pandas were then whisked away to the Berlin Zoo, where they became instant stars, drawing thousands of visitors eager to see the furry diplomats in action. A fun little fact: since 1957, China has sent pandas to over 20 countries. So yeah, these pandas have had quite the international career. All right, if you thought pandas flying first class was impressive, wait until you hear about one of the heaviest and most aquatic passengers to ever take to the skies. In 2005, two whale sharks, Ralph and Norton, made an incredible journey from Taipei, Taiwan, to the Georgia Aquarium in Atlanta, USA. Each of these giants weighed over a ton and stretched more than 16 feet long. A specially modified UPS Boeing 747-400 was called in for the job, outfitted with massive aquatic tanks. These tanks were designed to mimic the shark's natural environment, with precise temperature controls, oxygenation systems to keep the water breathable, and sensors to monitor the shark's health throughout the 8,000-mile flight. A team of marine biologists, veterinarians, and logistics specialists were on board, keeping a close eye on the sharks 24/7. The following year, two more whale sharks, Alice and Trixie, joined Ralph and Norton on similar flights. But why go through all this trouble to fly these giants halfway across the world? Well, these sharks were rescued from being sold as seafood in Taiwan. The Georgia Aquarium not only gave them a second chance at life, but also provided the public with a rare opportunity to see these majestic creatures up close. So, in a way, their flight wasn't just historic, it was downright heroic.
It's a vast pottery army which is slowly being unearthed from the tomb where it's lain for more than 2,000 years.
Next up, we're talking about some of the most priceless cargo ever flown, the Terra Cotta Warriors of China. These incredible figures, over 2,200 years old, were discovered in 1974 in Xi'an, China. Built to guard the tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang, China's first emperor, each life-size warrior is unique, reflecting the soldiers, horses, and weapons of that ancient time. Today, they're considered one of humanity's greatest historical treasures. But how do you move fragile, irreplaceable artifacts like these across the globe? That's where modern aviation comes in. Over the years, select groups of these warriors have been carefully transported to museums around the world, including a famous exhibition tour in the United States. Each warrior is packed into a custom-designed container lined with shock-absorbing materials to protect them from vibrations or sudden movements during transit. These containers are then placed in climate-controlled cargo holds to keep the temperature and humidity just right, because even a small change could damage the centuries-old clay. Security is as tight as you'd expect for something as valuable. Armed guards often travel with the cargo, and flight plans are kept confidential to prevent theft or sabotage. When the warriors reach their destination, a team of curators, historians, and conservationists make sure they're safely unpacked and put on display. The reason for all this effort? These exhibits attract millions of visitors, offering a once-in-a-lifetime chance to get up close with one of the world's most incredible archaeological finds. All right, for our last story, we're leaving Earth's atmosphere. Well, almost. In 2012, the retired Space Shuttle Discovery, one of NASA's most iconic spacecraft, took its final flight. But this wasn't a mission to space. It was a one-way trip to its new home in the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C. Now, transporting a 170,000-pound spacecraft isn't an average cargo job. So, NASA called in their shuttle carrier aircraft, a specially modified Boeing 747-100 built for the job. The sight of Discovery perched atop that massive 747 was nothing short of historic. The prep for this flight was as complex as a space mission itself. First, Discovery was carefully decommissioned, removing hazardous materials, securing loose components, and ensuring the shuttle was ready for the journey. The mounting process was tricky. Using a massive crane, the shuttle was carefully hoisted and secured to the 747 with 3 custom-designed attach points. Once in the air, the SCA took a scenic route, flying low over landmarks like Cape Canaveral, the U.S. Capitol, and the National Mall. Thousands of spectators lined the flight path, snapping photos as Discovery soared by for the last time. When the SCA touched down at the Dulles International Airport, it felt like a hero's welcome. Discovery was then transferred to the Stephen F. Udvar-Hazy Center, where it proudly sits today, surrounded by other iconic artifacts of aviation and space exploration. And that's a wrap. So which of these unbelievable cargo stories blew your mind the most? Was it the pandas flying first class or the whale sharks soaring through the sky? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Before you go, don't forget to check out the recent video, Aviation's Biggest Scandals, What They Don't Want You to Know. Keep flying high with us, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and be ready for more stories that defy the skies.